I think she's a powerful force of good and positive energy.
But she ain't no Elon.
But she also brought us Dr. Oz and The Secret. We have to remember what this lady has done.
She has to be held accountable.
I forgive her, but I mean, cut the The Secret is a particularly egregious offense.
What, you don't believe?
You don't believe? Oh, believe?
I want to be rich. I am rich.
I imagine myself flying. I can fly. I will beat my wings until I take off.
Oprah used to believe she reigned over the media world until Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson showed up like wrecking balls at a garden party. Forget the cozy book clubs and warm and fuzzy inspiration. This is total chaos. One's firing off questions like brutal uppercuts, while the other's grilling her like it's a billionaire barbecue on live TV. Could this be the collapse of Oprah's once untouchable reputation, or the start of her most intense PR disaster to date? Either way, what they just revealed is jaw-dropping, and Oprah never saw it coming, not in a million years.
Oprah Winfrey, she's worth $3 billion. She's up there talking about all the racism she encountered.
But okay, so Oprah Winfrey is American, but Kamala Harris, Jamaicans are not Americans, A. B, not oppressed in any sense. They're actually very successful in the United States. Caribbeans in general, I think, make more than native-born whites. They're successful, they're entrepreneurial. They're not part of the history of racism and slavery in the United States, just the opposite. They just showed up here. So, this is ridiculous.
Oprah was never merely a talk show host. Oh no, she was a spiritual guru, a self-help oracle, a billionaire motivator, and practically the unofficial therapist for every suburban mom across America. For decades, her approval meant instant success, while her disapproval felt like a career-ending curse. She handed out cars like Halloween candy, transformed unknown writers into best-selling legends, and could summon tears from guests who had no idea why they were crying. Her emotional influence was that powerful and far-reaching. Her presence alone could shift public opinion like a cultural earthquake.
Joe Rogan is calling out Oprah and Michelle Obama for hypocritical speeches at the DNC. Watch.
She's up there talking about income inequality. Like, hey, lady.
Yeah, I know.
You're rich as Like, how is that equal?
Apparently, the glitter is fading, slowly, painfully, and with a splash of poetic cosmic irony. The wrecking balls? None other than two wildly different media juggernauts, Joe, DMT and Deadlifts, Rogan and Tucker, Bow Ties Revenge, Carlson. They didn't collaborate, didn't plan it, and didn't even acknowledge each other. But somehow, both found themselves crashing through the same metaphorical demolition zone. The once bulletproof, untouchable Oprah empire is now showing cracks, and the fallout is playing out like a slow-motion media.
Have you noticed that it is more controversial to criticize Oprah than to burn the American flag?
Really?
Seems that way. I've never heard anybody criticize Oprah. Do you think it's political, or do you think it's deeper than that? I mean, you're not like a right-winger.
No.
No? No. You don't even seem that political.
No, I'm not really. I'm pretty much, just want to do right by the people,
Let's start with Joe. He's the patron saint of skeptical bros everywhere. An MMA commentator turned podcasting emperor, he casually interviews astrophysicists, hunters, conspiracy theorists, stand-up comics, and gym rats with the same laid-back intensity. 1 minute, it's quantum physics. The next, it's elk meat recipes. Then one day, Oprah's name enters the conversation, not because of a sit-down interview, not due to any outrageous comment, just because Joe's finely tuned nonsense radar started buzzing. Something didn't sit right, and when that happens, he dives deep. Real deep.
Bro, you remember the time Oprah had that lady on, its face bit off by the chimp?
Stay there.
And she showed her face on TV?
Oh, yeah.
Miraculously, she survived just the unimaginable. Her name is Charla Nash. Charla almost always covers her face with the hat and scarf. She wears it, she says, because she doesn't want to scare people.
The lady was wearing a veil over her face, like, let's see your face, come on. She pulls the veil away.
Like a note.
What are you doing?
Would you mind lifting the veil? Oh, no. So we can see.
You could take the hat off.
Oh, the hat comes off.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Here's a woman who built her empire on the promise of authenticity, yet choreographed every second of her media presence like a Fortune 500 product launch. Joe sees the red flags immediately. He doesn't need a scandal to pounce. He just smells a contradiction. You can practically hear him smirking as he unpacks her carefully polished legacy like an expired protein bar dressed up with an organic label. It starts with the wellness rabbit hole. Oprah's entire public persona glows with the light of self-improvement. But her version of self-improvement is a dizzying carousel of miracle smoothies, emotional shamans, overpriced crystals, and life coaches with suspicious credentials. Joe starts tugging at the threads. The fad diets she championed, the spiritual trends steeped in designer pseudoscience, and the exhausting cycle of empowerment messaging interrupted by strategic product placement. Oprah says, you can have it all as long as you buy this book, follow this guru, join this wellness retreat, and chant affirmations next to a vision board made of ethically sourced, recycled yoga mats. Joe, somewhere between his kettlebell swings and elk meat tangents, simply calls it what it is, commodified enlightenment. A glorified infomercial hiding behind the mask of empathy. He doesn't scream, he doesn't rage, he just laughs, that low, amused, surgical laugh, the kind that slices deeper than outrage, the kind that says, so this is the game now. A laugh sharper than any op-ed and twice as memorable.
Here's Oprah on abortion.
If you do not have autonomy over this, if you cannot control when and how you choose to bring your children into this world and how they are raised and supported, there is no American dream.
There's no American dream without abortion. That to me sounds like a woman that's had an abortion. I don't know, but that's what it sounds like to me.
Well, it's such a grotesque and crazy thing to say that clearly it's coming from somewhere.
There's no American dream without abortion. To Joe, that doesn't sound like political theory. It sounds like personal experience. He doesn't know for sure, but the tone says enough. It's such a grotesque, jarring statement that it clearly comes from somewhere deep, somewhere conflicted. And then there's Oprah's army of so-called experts, the ones she's knighted over the decades. Joe sees them too. You know the type. Once beloved daytime wisdom dispensers, now Senate candidates, supplement hustlers, or pharmaceutical pitchmen. It's like Oprah opened a portal where charisma replaced credentials. And now Joe's watching the chaos unfold like it's a Netflix series. Organic, non-GMO popcorn in hand. He doesn't throw dramatic gotcha questions. He just asks the inconvenient ones. The simple, logical ones that quietly unwind the whole illusion. Why does the queen of authenticity keep surrounding herself with people who spiral into PR nightmares? Why does every heartfelt conversation feel like a carefully edited trailer for a lifestyle product? And most glaringly, why does the woman who preaches vulnerability and being real run a media empire with secrecy levels rivaling the Pentagon? Joe doesn't rant. He doesn't point fingers. He just observes. And somehow, that quiet skepticism does all the damage. As his audience leans in, laughing, smirking, questioning, Oprah's once unshakable pedestal begins to wobble. What once looked like a media monument now feels more like a very expensive illusion.
Did you see the Oprah interview?
No.
She's off the rails.
Yeah,
Off the rails.
I heard about it.
Into fucking wine mom country again.
Wow.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun. I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, I hear that.
Tim Dillon is the best. Tim Dillon's like, she's saying gypsy curses. What is she saying?
Now cut to Tucker Carlson, a completely different beast. Where Joe Rogan uses humor and curiosity like a precision scalpel, Tucker storms in with a sledgehammer wrapped in American flag decals and constitutional quotes. In Tucker's universe, Oprah isn't just a media mogul, she's a symbol. A soft-spoken Trojan horse for every elite narrative the establishment wants you to swallow with a smile. He doesn't care about her book club picks. He doesn't flinch at her favorite things list. What he sees is a billionaire cloaked in compassion, delivering morality sermons from a marble kitchen in Montecito, sipping imported tea. To Tucker, Oprah represents the polished face of selective outrage. Quick to speak when it's fashionable, silent when it's dangerous, always landing gently on the cozy side of corporate consensus. Her brand, immaculately engineered. And that's precisely the problem. He starts tearing into her endorsements, the political nods, the vague cultural gestures, the performative empathy that always sounds profound but says nothing risky. Tucker's not buying it. He leans in and asks the uncomfortable question. What kind of influence does she have, and who exactly benefits from it? He paints a picture of Oprah as everything to everyone, feminist icon, corporate titan, spiritual guru, cultural compass, philanthropic goddess. But somehow, no one ever pulls back the velvet curtain. No one questions the machine behind the messaging, until now. And Tucker, with his cold, calculated stare, is more than happy to be the one asking.
Oprah, who's involved with Weight Watchers, just apologized for preaching personal accountability over the past decades. She said it's not personal accountability. We're supporting Ozempic. This is becoming, obesity is becoming something.
Do you think Oprah got paid?
She's highly involved with Weight Watchers. Yeah, Weight Watchers has shifted from a personal accountability organization that it's been preaching for decades and is now a prescriber of Ozempic. They've totally changed because Ozempic is a better business model because you never go off of it.
This is insane. So maybe one of the reasons this is accepted, people don't see it as totally crazy, is...
And Tucker, bless his cable news heart, tears that curtain down like it's the season finale of a reality TV show gone off the rails. He has no patience for cozy interviews, no interest in soft focus lighting or staged vulnerability. He sees the whole operation for what it is, a billionaire masquerading as your life coach while quietly steering a media empire that shapes public emotion like wet clay on a spinning wheel. While Joe calls out contradictions with a smirk, Tucker bellows about control with a clenched jaw. Joe pokes fun at overpriced wellness scams and pseudo-spiritual nonsense. Tucker practically froths at the mouth over the idea that Oprah gets to sculpt the national psyche while pretending to be one of us. And here's the real magic trick. Neither of them needs Oprah to clap back. She's not invited, and she doesn't appear. They're not talking to her. They're talking about her, through her, past her. Because by now, Oprah isn't a person in their critiques, she's a symbol. Joe sees her as a cautionary tale, where branding crushed authenticity. Tucker sees her as an elite puppet master, cloaked in the soothing tones of daytime TV. And strangely, despite their differences, they both land on the same unsettling truth. Oprah may still be selling hope, but fewer and fewer people are lining up to buy. What makes the takedown even more devastating is the contrast. Joe does it with casual ease. He sounds amused, like he's watching a parody. Tucker does it with righteous fire. He sounds betrayed, like someone who expected better. And between the two of them, Oprah's empire isn't just questioned, it's dismantled, piece by exposed piece. No scandal, no smoking gun, just the brutal, relentless spotlight on everything we should have been questioning all along.
See Oprah fall down?
Yes, and it's honestly...
She's a little old to be falling down. You loved it?
I loved it.
Wow.
Loved it. She didn't get hurt.
People get hurt.
She's fine.
She's dead.
She died?
Yes.
All right. Ding dong. The witch is dead.
She did. Imagine if she did, and I was
she died from the fall.
About her.
Yeah, we're fucked.
No, she didn't die.
No, she's fine. I just think like...
She looks like she got hurt.
It's nice to see billionaires fall.
Oh.
How about that?
Why is Oprah preaching simplicity from a 65-acre estate with staff, security, and a citrus grove? Why is she promoting empowerment while launching billion-dollar branding deals built on people's deepest traumas? Why does she only speak up when the room is already clapping, the hashtag's already trending, the risk already neutralized? These aren't attacks, they're exposés dressed in sarcasm, sharp enough to cut through the gloss. And the internet eats it up like the last greasy slice of truth pizza at a vegan meditation retreat. Joe's audience chuckles and nods knowingly. Tucker's audience furrows brows, arms crossed, nodding too. Different demographics, different vibes, but both are thinking the same thing. Wait a minute. Maybe this woman isn't the untouchable moral goddess we thought she was, and that's the beauty of it. Joe and Tucker didn't plan this. They didn't team up. They didn't trade notes in a secret podcast war room. They simply saw the same hairline cracks in the cultural facade. And when two media titans from opposite sides of the ideological battlefield arrive at the same conclusion, it stops looking like coincidence and starts feeling like a reckoning. This isn't cancellation. Oprah's too massive to cancel. No, it's worse. It's public disillusionment. The slow, steady drip where applause fades, trust evaporates, and people begin to look twice. It's not a dramatic fall from grace. It's a subtle erosion of the brand, quiet, creeping, and 1,000 times more dangerous than scandal.
Let's think of when The Secret came out. I want to say that was like 2006-ish.
2004.
2006.
Nice.
Okay. So 12 years ago, she was 50 years old. How the fuck do you not know when you're 50 years old and worth $1 billion that that's not how it works?
That it's hocus pocus.
Yeah, it's not hocus pocus.
Yeah.
And to sell that to people is crazy. And that's a book that sold, I think I was reading it sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 million copies.
Because Oprah doesn't need defending. She's not hopping on podcasts. She's not doing cable rebuttals. Instead, she's staying quiet, watching, waiting, hoping this little wave of backlash will quietly fizzle out. But the truth is, once a myth starts cracking, it's damn near impossible to glue it back together. People remember. People share clips. They start comparing the woman who told us to find our truth with the empire she built by selling hers for profit. And at the center of the storm are Joe and Tucker, each throwing grenades in their own distinct style. One with a knowing laugh, the other with a sharp glare. One flexing logic, the other lobbing outrage. Together, without ever meeting or teaming up, they poke enough holes in the Oprah balloon to make it wobble. Maybe it won't pop just yet, but it's wobbling hard enough that even her most loyal fans feel that sinking feeling in their gut. Because once you realize the media queen might just be another carefully crafted brand, in the sprawling empire of influence, you start asking dangerous questions. Who made her queen? Why did we crown her? And more importantly, why didn't we see it sooner? It's not just the questioning that's deadly, it's the timing. The cultural tide has shifted. Once upon a time, Oprah was the undisputed North Star of public morality. Now she's a luxury yacht with a broken GPS, lost at sea in the wild, unruly age of digital pirate radio.
One of the more I want to say disturbing, but it was confusing when that was taking hold with people. When I had friends that were telling me that The Secret is real and that they imagined they were going to fulfill these childhood dreams that they had about whatever, being a fucking astronaut, whatever it would be. There's a couple people that I knew that were trying to tell me that The Secret was going to be the thing and that they had a vision board and they had photographs, they put pictures up of the things that they wanted, like them in front of large crowds and shit. And I'm like, oh boy.
Them in front of large crowds.
This is so not how it works.
Yeah.
And Rogan. He's drifting by in a kayak made of elk meat and free speech, pointing out every shiny contradiction with a smirk and a protein shake in hand. He doesn't need to yell because the evidence is all around. Here's Oprah preaching balance and mindfulness while selling you a 10-part docuseries on trauma, bundled with a yoga mat and a lavender candle. Joe unpacks it like a misleading supplement label. He sees through the wellness fog, the overpriced water bottles blessed by moonlight, the spiritual advisors with glossy PR teams, the empire built on 1,000 self-help books that somehow always lead back to you being the problem, unless, of course, you buy her solution. Meanwhile, Oprah's original audience, those daytime viewers who once saw her as a genuine voice for the voiceless, are starting to feel duped. Not betrayed in a scandalous way, but more like waking up from a decade-long nap and realizing their trusted life coach was also selling the very furniture they cried on. Jo, without outright saying it, paints the perfect picture. A woman who once stood for raw, messy authenticity, now wrapped in layers of brand partnerships, motivational cliches, and designer self-awareness. It's not evil, it's just painfully transparent. Then there's Tucker, loading up his metaphorical cannon and aiming it squarely at her pedestal. He's not interested in green juice or gratitude journals. He's watching the bigger game, politics, control, and power, wrapped in a smile. For Tucker, Oprah isn't just an over-branded media mogul. She's a cultural gatekeeper in pearls. She decides what's acceptable, what's moral, and what's cool to believe. One tearful monologue shifts a national conversation. One disapproving glance stalls an entire career. That kind of soft power terrifies him. Because soft power, Tucker believes, is the slipperiest. It arrives disguised as inspiration but manipulates behavior, cloaks privilege in righteousness, and convinces you you're thinking for yourself, while you're really just downloading curated morality from a billionaire's mansion. He throws the curtain wide open. Oprah as the elite class's emotional mascot, the one who makes inequality feel palatable, selling inspiration while dining with CEOs. She speaks to the people while floating 5 floors above them on a cushion of curated optics and lifetime achievement awards. It stings, not because it's shouted, but because it rings true. Tucker doesn't need to call her corrupt. He lets the math do the talking. Billionaire, brand ambassador, kingmaker, platformer of pseudoscience, endorser of virtue signaling, somehow all at once. He doesn't say she's evil. He just wonders how someone can be that powerful, that influential, that rich, and still be seen as the humble voice of the everyday woman. The ultimate magician's trick, turning gold into tears and selling both by the ounce. And the audience, they're not furious. They're not rioting. They're blinking, thinking, starting to do the one thing Oprah's empire cannot withstand in bulk, doubt.